All right, the Buffalo Bills continue to make moves in NFL free agency. We got it covered here on the Bills Breakdown. My name is Harrison Graham. We are also so close to 2,500 subscribers here on the channel. We appreciate all of the support, whether it's been Smitty or Moose or myself or whoever bringing you guys content throughout NFL free agency around the Buffalo Bills. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We're 101 subs away from 2,500 on the channel. Let's continue to grow this thing, and let's dive into the latest news. All right, the Bills have signed 2 more players. We're going to tell you who those players are. Then I haven't been on much on the breakdown this week. Kind of want to just give my overall thoughts on all the moves the Bills have made up to this point, so we'll do that kind of toward the latter half of the video. But let's welcome back a familiar face. That is Dane Jackson. He is returning to Buffalo after a year in Carolina. Contract details are to be determined. Only played in 9 games last year. Wasn't really a starter for the Panthers, so I would imagine a pretty cheap deal here. Spent his first 4 years in Buffalo, left to sign with Carolina. Now he returns. And I like the move because he's played in this system. A couple years ago, he started 15 games, so he can be a starter if you need him to. The Bills' secondary wasn't very good last year, so he helps provide some depth in that area as they need depth in their secondary, really both at corner and at safety. Obviously, they brought back Damar Hamlin as well to provide some depth. So like the move, shouldn't cost a lot, should be able to contribute on special teams, and ideally he's a backup. You'd rather have stronger starters in the secondary. I could see the Bills adding a corner in the draft. But if he needs to play in a pinch, he can certainly do just that. So Dane Jackson back on a 1-year deal. Again, we'll see what the contract ends up looking like. 3 career interceptions, kind of been a part-time starter throughout his career. So we'll see what that ends up being in terms of a contract. Okay, Kendrick Green, center guard hybrid. He is signing a 1-year deal as well. The former 3rd-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Played the last 2 years with the Houston Texans, mostly as a backup, but got some playing time. He has not played really very good at all in the NFL, to put it nicely. A couple years ago, he played okay. Last year, he was pretty bad. As a 3rd-round pick, he has not played at a starter level. Look, small sample size last year, but just to kind of outline the type of player he was a year ago, his pass block grade for PFF, and I'm trying not to chuckle, was 19.4. I'm not joking when I say that might be the lowest I've ever seen. I mean, like 50s, 60s, low 60s, that's like average. I mean, like 30s, 40s is like really bad. 19.4? Does that mean you're losing every rep? That's about as bad as it gets. Now, the year before, unlimited snaps, it was like a 60. So, you're hoping you get an average backup here. A guy who can play center in a pinch. He can play guard. He's got that positional flexibility. But do not get it confused. He is not a starter. Now, luckily, the Bills don't need a starter. Their starting offensive line is in a good spot. I'm not even convinced he'll make the team. But the positional versatility does help increase his values. He can play all 3 interior positions, but again, not a guy you want starting, and not a guy ideally who ever gets on the field. So we'll see, obviously, what the Bills plan for him in terms of a role is. Is he the true backup center? Is he competing just to be one of your backup interior guys? That remains to be seen, but they are bringing him in on a 1-year deal, I would imagine, for the vet minimum. What is your favorite signing out of these 2? Which one is a better signing? Type DJ for Dane Jackson, KG for Kendrick Green. I'd go Jackson. He's been here before. Bills draft pick. He knows the system, all of that stuff. Green is kind of take a flyer on a former 3rd-round pick, see if it turns into something. If not, no harm, no foul. So I would be typing my DJ for Dane Jackson. Okay, let's take a look at all the moves the Bills have made since really right before free agency up till now. Khalil Shakir, he gets a 4-year, $53 million extension. I'll say this, based on some of the wide receiver contracts and money that's been thrown out there, that's a pretty good deal. Less than 15 per year for a guy who's probably never a number 1, but, I think he's a good 2. Still a young player. You can do different things with him, has good speed. I like that move for Buffalo. Reed Ferguson, you bring your long snapper back. Terrell Bernard, get a nice extension. Again, $12.5 per year. He's not a Roquan Smith, but it's a pretty good contract. for Terrell Bernard. You think a couple years ago they let Tremaine Edmonds walk, 4 years, $72 million. You get Terrell Bernard, 4 years, $50 million. If you ask me right now who I'd rather have Terrell Bernard. So that ended up being a good decision. Greg Rousseau, 4 years, $80 million, $50 more million guaranteed. We talked about Myles Garrett here on the channel, but once it became apparent Cleveland wasn't going to trade him, keeping Rousseau long-term clearly became a priority. You redo Josh Allen's contract with the 6-year, $330 with $250 guarantee, which honestly is a pretty team-friendly deal. $55 a year, that's what Trevor Lawrence makes. Like that's Josh Allen's doing them a solid. Now he gets the most guaranteed money ever, so it's not like he lost out. But he even says, he's like, yeah, what's $5 million more dollars? Like, I'm already making a ton. So kudos to him for not necessarily resetting the annual market. I mean, Dak Prescott's at $60 a year. He easily could have pushed for that, and the Bills would have given him that. But to take $55 a year and kind of compromise by getting the most guaranteed money, that's being a franchise quarterback. I love that. Josh Palmer, 3 for 36. I think the Bills' wide receiver room is interesting. I like a lot of their pieces. I don't know if I love any of them. In other words, I don't think they have a true number one. I don't think Shakir is that. Palmer definitely isn't that. He's like a good 3. You got Keon Coleman. Can he become that? I think he's probably more of a 2 with his limited athletic profile. So, we'll see how the room shakes out. I could see them drafting another receiver, but they have a bunch of they have more depth than they do high level players in terms of their receiving room. Michael Hoyt is back as well. Darrington Evans, who's bounced around the league. He's been with Buffalo a couple times. He's back in the running back room, as is Ty Johnson, who's kind of been their third down back at times, can play on special teams. They bring in Reggie Gilliam, fullback. Obviously, the Joey Bosa one caught people's attention. People did not necessarily see that coming. Most assumed that he would sign with the 49ers and unite with his brother Nick Bosa in San Francisco, but he ends up coming over to Buffalo. Essentially what the Bills did was cut Von Miller, bring in Joey Bosa. They think they can squeeze more out of Bosa. They also bring in Larry Ogunjobi, a solid interior pass rusher at that defensive tackle position. So again, you kind of see what they're doing. It's more of a volume approach on the defensive line rather than trying to get a Myles Garrett because, again, Garrett was not available. DeMar Hamlin returns. We'll see if he's a starter or if he's a backup. They had Derek Forrest at safety as well. Laviska Shenault, who's an interesting chess piece, has never quite lived up to his potential, but maybe the Bills, Joe Brady, will have a package for him. And then the signings today. You get Dane Jackson to return after 1 year in Carolina, and Kendrick Green enters the fold as well. So that is where the Bills sit at this point in NFL free agency. We'll see if they have any other tricks up their sleeve, as Brandon Beane obviously is going to continue to look to add to this roster. My name is Harrison Graham. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what move you like the best so far, and we'll see you guys soon here on the Bills Breakdown.